Hey, Wild One again. Let's start talking about the cards. So I promised before that I would do a second part where I just kind of go over the different cards that are in the game because I didn't want to spend all that time unwrapping them and doing all that on camera. So I did all that off camera, and I sort of organized them into a couple deck boxes in here. I still haven't punched the courage tokens and the white dark track marker. Haven't punched those out yet, but as you can see here, things look a little different now. I rolled the player mat the opposite way as it was. I now have a couple deck boxes in here. These are the bigger ones that hold 100 sleeved cards, and they hold about a little over 200 unsleeved cards, at least of this type of cardstock. And then where I didn't have space in these two, I shoved some cards over here. So we'll go through all of these. I'm going to go ahead and pull these deck boxes out, and we'll take a look at what we got in here. So the cards that were in here, that were shoved in here, are, I believe, the bystander and wound cards. So there's nothing particularly exciting about the wound cards. I sort of showed those before, but those are the wound cards. Those end up in your deck, and they clog your deck, and you can heal and get rid of them. And then we have the bystander cards. So these go obviously in the bystander space. There's, what all different characters do we have in here? We've got Ford, who I would not consider. When I think of bystanders, I think of innocent bystanders, and Ford was a kind of a jerk. Here's Clem. Here's Lily, who had multiple names. If I was a real Buffy fanboy, I'd remember what all her names were, but I can't remember them right now. Here we have Joyce. Lovely Joyce. And then we have one of the most interesting ones and obscure ones to grab, which is Herbert the Pig, which only made, to my knowledge, one appearance. And that was in the hyena episode when they ate the pig. And then there's Dawn. Interestingly enough, she's a bystander, but she's also the key. I don't know if she comes into play at all when you play with Glory as the big bad. And then we're back to Forge. So that's Wounds and Bystanders. And then the last card, you saw it sitting over in the corner. This is the promo card. It has a special number in the corner, and I think it's related to the fact that it's a promo card. Which, if it's focusing, I can't really tell. But yeah, it's the Dingoes Ate My Baby poster, which has a really awesome ability, which is you can defeat a villain at the bronze with this card. Now let's go through these deck boxes. One of them I had, I believe, very cozily fits all of the hero decks. And there are 15 of them. 15 different heroes you can play. I'm kind of hoping there'll be some Buffy expansions where they add more, because there are definitely some that are not here that would be nice if they were here as well. And so here's Angel. So Angel's our first of our 15 heroes. And we've got Anya here. Anya in her little bunny, in her bunny suit. And of course each one of these has 14 cards. There are 2 sets of 5 common cards. Then there's 3, what I would say uncommon. I think they call them uncommon in the rules, and rare is the last one, but I would call this the unique card. There's only 1 for each hero. So like for Anya, this is the Anyanka card. Now I'm not going to show all the card faces, but let you discover these for yourself. I'm just going to show you the different heroes that they provide. So here's Buffy, the Prophecy Girl. Then right after Buffy comes the Buffy bot. about Buffy? And there's actually more of a cute picture in here. There it is. This is from the intervention episode. After Buffy and the Buffy Bot, we've got Cordelia. So there's all of Cordelia, her 14 cards. We have Faith. Faith shows up in multiple decks. I believe she's in the villain's deck as well, as part of the Mayor's Minions. But crazy Faith. And her unique card is her 5/5/5. Then we have the first Slayer. This is an interesting one. I think I kind of find it kind of cool that they put the first Slayer in here as a hero, but it shows you how much Buffy lore there is to mine to produce these hero decks. So I mean, there's plenty of others that we could also include. If you can grab the first Slayer and bring it in as a hero, then there's plenty of others you might be able to bring in too. Then we have Giles, so I filed him under G. And I like his unique card, the like a Stevedore card. It's his Ripper persona from Band Candy. And then we have Jenny Calendar. So again, speaking of heroes that you're mining, here's one who only made it into season 2, and then had an appearance in season 3. When it was the first masquerading as Jenny. I thought it appropriate to have, even though they're in alphabetical order anyway, as far as I'm concerned, Giles and Jenny right next to each other. You'll see the same thing for another couple characters later in the hero deck that I have. And here's Oz. I put him under O instead of D for Daniel. Originally he was filed under D for Daniel instead of O for Oz. So they were doing, I think they were doing first names. Then everybody's, people just love to hate on Riley, but Riley's in here as a hero. So there's Riley. Then we have Spike. Again, just like Faith, Spike is in multiple decks. I believe he's in the Scourge of Europe deck, villain deck, along with Drew. That's where Drew shows up. So there's Spike as Randy Giles from Tabula Rasa. Then we have Tara. All of her cards. Her unique card is Under Your Spell from Once More with Feeling. And like I said, just like with Giles and Jenny being right next to each other, I have Tara and Willow right next to each other. I owe you pain, she says to Glory. And then of course, bored now. That would be Darth Willow. Or Dark Phoenix Willow, or whatever you want to call her. And last but not least, X for Xander. And we saw him before on his poor donut run. And he's, of course, a glorified bricklayer. And then here's his soldier knowledge, which just kept coming up again and again. It became sort of a crutch. It was a way to work him into later episodes. Like, how much soldier knowledge did he acquire and retain from Halloween? Seems like a lot. So that's all 15 of the heroes. So I'm going to put them back in this deck box, and we'll move on to what's in the other deck box. So in the other deck box, this one's crammed a little bit more tightly. I'm going to have to get like a couple, 2 or 3 other deck boxes to put all these cards in. There's a total of 501 cards. So it's 500 cards plus the promo card. So all the other cards are in here. There's quite a lot to go through. So we'll do this a little bit at a time. So first off, of course, are our potential slayers. These are the ones that are, you can purchase them for 3 recruitment points, and then they're worth 2. And it's the lovely Felicia Day as Vi the Potential, who in the final episode, spoiler alert, actually becomes a Slayer, along with all the other potentials. Then we have our starter deck building cards here. So the starter decks have 8 Watchers and 4 Initiative Soldiers. So the Watchers are the ones that they give you one recruitment point each. This is Wesley Wyndham Price here. And then the Initiative Soldiers each give you 1 attack. Next we have our big bads. There are 5 big bads total. We have the Master, and then we have the Master's tactics. So there's 4 tactic cards, which, just to avoid surprises, I'm going to just kind of skip past those. Let's not show those. And then we have Angelus or Angelus, depending on who you are and when you are in the show. The pronunciation changed a few times. So we have Angelus. We have Mayor Wilkins, Mayor Richard Wilkins III, who was probably also Mayor Richard Wilkins I and II. And then we skip over Adam. So what's interesting is that Adam, Professor Walsh, they're not in here. We go right to season 5 and Glory, or Glorificus, and her tactic cards, which I am going to quickly slip past here. And then we skip over season 6. So another thing that we miss is the nerd trio. We don't get any Warren, Andrew, or Jonathan, which I kind of wish we had them in here as well somehow, in some form. But instead we jump right to season 7 in the first. Then we have the schemes. There are, I believe, how many schemes? 8 of them? I think there's 8 schemes here. Yeah, so we've got Convert to Evil, Darkness Falls, Epic Struggle, Hellmouth Opening, Road to Damnation, Summon the Uber Vamps, Twilight Terror, and Vile Agenda. Then we have the generic scheme twist card, which is the actual twist itself is explained on, I believe, on the scheme cards. Yeah, the scheme cards describe what to do when you pull a scheme twist card, and so there's just a bunch of those. And we just had a total eclipse recently, so there's a total eclipse of the sun there, which was from Graduation Day. Then we have the Master Strike cards. There's only 5 of those. So then we get into our villain cards. So we have our villains and villain henchmen. And I believe I have them split out so that the henchmen villains are separate from the regular villains. So we have Gaknar here among the demons. We have Halfric. We have Sweet. We have the Gentleman. We have Cyrus, I think? It's from Harmony's Gang. Yeah, now I'm into Harmony's Gang. So those were the demons. Here's Harmony's Gang. Then we have, there's Drew from the Scourge of Europe. And I believe Spike is in here. There's Spike. So here's Spike. Like I was saying, they turn up in different decks. So here's Spike. And then we have one of my favorite villains of the entire show, actually, the Judge. He could have been a big bad, but they just kind of blew him in one episode. In 2 episodes, I should say, in a 2-parter. Then we have the Order of Aurelius, which was originated with the Anointed One in season 1. These are the folks who followed the Master. Then we have minions. So we have the Mayor's minions, which includes Balthazar, Kakistos, and here again there's Faith. So Faith is among the Mayor's minions, but she's also in the hero deck. Mr. Trick. And then we're on to Glory's minions. You could say that the Order of Aurelius are actually the Master's minions, but there's no Master's minions deck. So technically I would say that's it. And then here's Glory's minions. Ben. Ben is Glory. Glory is Ben. Doc, Jinx, the High Priest, Queller Demon, Caleb. Oh, now we're off to the first minions. So then, of course, we've got Caleb, Charlotte. I believe that was Ashanti that played her. Gnarl. And then the first avatars, like that poor girl, I can't remember her name. She died. She predicted her own death, and then Buffy tried to stop it, and it happened anyway. That was really kind of a depressing ending to the episode, and then she was used by the first to try to manipulate Willow. Alright, so those were all the villains and the minion villains. So I put the minions after the regular villain cards. And then the remaining villain cards are all the henchmen. So we have the Harbingers of Death. We have the Hellhounds here. We have, this is weird. They would devote an entire group of henchmen cards to the Shark Gangsters. And there's only one Shark Demon they ever show on the TV series. So I find that one kind of weird. I'm like, again, it's like there's so much more they could mine out of the Buffy lore to produce these, to produce expansions. So I'm kind of hoping that they will. So here's the Turrican Vampires. This is far more appropriate. Henchmen. There were tons of those at the end. And we have the Vampire Initiates. And that's it. That is every card that's in the in Legendary Buffy. I hope you enjoyed me going through all the cards. There are a few that I tried to skip. I know some people are really wary of spoilers. I'll put a little spoiler alert on the video in case you don't want to see what any of the cards look like. Just to warn you up front that yes, I do show a significant number of the cards, but there are some cards I tried to skip, like the Big Bad Tactics. I thought those were probably worth, keeping hidden. We don't want to, be more entertaining, I think, if you were surprised by what those tactics were when you play the game. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click the little bell to receive notifications when I post new videos. And until next time, this is Wild One signing off.